What is up, good people? Jungle Link here. Hope you're doing well. Pretty flat day today. See Bitcoin hovering 29,380, Ethereum 1850, XRP 62, almost 63 cents. Rest of the crypto market, nothing really notable going on. We will see what this upcoming week has in store for us. Now, this is interesting. SEC decision on Bitcoin ETF won't leave out Wall Street giants. This we know. Really, the main question is who's going to get included? Who is going to make the final cut? And this article says, well, maybe everyone of the current crop of ETF applications might be the best way to go forward. We see the Securities and Exchange Commission's prolonged deliberation over a spot Bitcoin ETF is stroking expectations of a joint decision for all applications. And they have to be careful here. If you give the okay to just one, they likely will capture the whole market. Maybe that would be the most fair way. Personally, I don't think they'll give all 8, but there will be multiple winners at once here that get that okay, again, in my opinion. The final verdict will come in a batch that includes key players on Wall Street, including BlackRock and Fidelity. You best believe those two are going to get simultaneous okay on these applications. Futures-backed products, those are the ones that are allowed now, are lagging behind in terms of performance, substantially harming investors. So they went ahead and said, you know what, you can do futures-based Bitcoin ETFs. Those products have a lot of fees. They're just not as good as the spot Bitcoin product would be. Not for investors, at least. For the operators, it's pretty good. And so, we need this to have an optimal investment tool for those that want to invest in crypto and in Bitcoin. And when we look at it, it's not very sensible because the futures price, well, it's based on the spot market, right? And so if it's okay to trade futures, of course, it's okay to trade spot. It's only sensible. And so the SEC currently is analyzing 8 applicants, and I highlighted the ones that I think are most likely, which are BlackRock, VanEck, Fidelity, and Valkyrie. Of course, you have Cathie Wood's ARK Invest with their application, WisdomTree, Invesco. Galaxy Digital, I don't think they're going to make the cut, in my opinion. But together, in totality, these 8 firms manage a total of $15 trillion in global assets. So this is going to open the door for a lot of money to flood in. I know a lot of people, traditionalists, crypto enthusiasts, they don't like this type of product. But there's a lot of investors out there that are going to need this for security. They want a custodian to hold their funds, keep it safe, keep the investor safe. And then further beyond that, there's just some investors that cannot invest in this asset class until we get something like a Bitcoin ETF. So again, it might not be appropriate for all of us, but for a lot of investors, it's going to open the door here. Regulators have raised concern about Coinbase's surveillance sharing agreement, asking commenters to examine whether Coinbase's participation in the ETF surveillance world, in fact, would help detect, investigate, and deter fraud. So that's kind of the key difference now. Why we think this will get through is that surveillance agreement. Access to the underlying data. Is fraud going on? Is manipulation going on? That's the new wrinkle they're throwing in here that we think will get this across the finish line. And the SEC saying, actually look at what's going on here. Is this just window dressing? Does this just look good on paper, or will this actually stop manipulation? And so we see the SEC's main concern about spot Bitcoin ETF is the potential market manipulation by a big whale. That happens all the time. Someone will splash the market, even though they could go over the counter, even though they could do a trade that would not affect things. They do it on purpose to manipulate the market and take out shorts and cause cascading sell-offs. And this is a problem because even though crypto's come a long ways, it's not deep like traditional markets, and we don't have a lot of these safeguards. Well, this is part of that, these surveillance agreements. But they make the argument here, if they decided to register all 8 TFs, all 8 of them, it will sharply mitigate the probability of manipulation because these firms will be able to trade with each other frequently, taking opposite sides. And while that is true, again, I don't think it's going to be all 8 of them, but they'll get a good chunk of that, maybe half, maybe even a little more. But your big players for sure are probably going to get the okay here. We'll see it play out. Look, we're knocking on the door. It'll start with Bitcoin. Ethereum will probably be next on deck. And then it'll go down through all the premium crypto assets, and they'll have ETFs that have baskets of assets that you can invest in. This space is going to transform over the coming years. and this is a big step forward to legitimize this asset class. Saw this from Messari. Emerging casino business model. On-chain casinos monetize speculation by tying speculative entertainment to the value of the tokens. So these on-chain casinos, well, they're creating constant revenue by providing games of chance and skill, and then extracting a fee from each hand that's played. So it's very similar to a rake if you're playing poker, or how just general casinos operate, but it's on-chain. I think gaming's going to be huge. People love to gamble. I have no opinion on which one of these tokens may be good. I'm not really into the gambling space anymore, but an area to keep an eye on. And if you're not so into gambling, that's fine. Keep an eye on gaming and some of these emerging use cases for crypto. Going to be absolutely massive. Now, PayPal, I thought this was a great article about them launching their stablecoin. We all understand stablecoins are a core component of DeFi. We also understand why people like to run stablecoins, because they're holding on to your cash. And guess what? They are taking the interest earned on that cash they are holding to backstop their stablecoin, and that just goes into their company or into their project. It doesn't go out to the user. So this could be, especially in this environment where we get a little bit higher interest, if you're holding billions and billions of dollars, this is significant cash flow. It's a no-brainer. Now the question is, why PayPal? Why would someone use a PayPal stablecoin as opposed to Circle or Tether? And it just comes down to the infrastructure, right? Like, you have a lot of merchants that already have PayPal's payment system integrated. Also, a lot of consumers, of course, have PayPal accounts. Might they start using PayPal coin for different reasons if they are incentivized to do so? Merchants may be able to cut out a lot of those merchant fees and lower costs. So this does make some sense. We will just have to see what they roll out here, and if they can start onboarding people, well, this could be a big, use case and adoption for stable coins, and of course for PayPal the business. The more people that onboard to use this, they get that interest income from safeguarding those assets. Will be pretty interesting. Now, the future of crypto hinges on the fight between the SEC and CZ. This is what I would tell you here. I have no idea what was going on behind the scenes with Binance, but I think what's interesting, unlike a lot of like your Do Kwons and your Celsiuses and people like that, there's actually substance here. There's actually, value to Binance and their exchange and their global business, and that almost makes CZ a bigger target, because you best believe there's big players that not only want him out, but they want to capture that business. Depending on what went on behind the scenes, I would not be surprised if at some point in time CZ is pushed out and you see some of these major financial institutions and traditional players seize this very valuable asset in the Binance business. I just think that he's not long for this game. He will be given his out. He will get paid off handsomely, but it really won't be by choice. There was two ways that CZ really could have approached this, because we knew they were going to circle the empire and they're going to come after him. They really could have taken the Binance chain and went totally decentralized, and I think that was the original idea, but they just didn't get there. I think there was too much profit in the way that they ran the Binance chain, and it was just a windfall of cash, but ultimately it's not decentralized enough for him just to take off on his boat and let it run autonomously. And that was the only way that Binance in its current form was really going to make it out alive here. Again, I don't think Binance is going to go away. I think CZ eventually will just be able to exit with a big payout, but I don't think 5 years from now you will see him running Binance. Only time will tell. Again, this could get nastier, especially if the DOJ gets involved. I don't think the SEC is a big player here. They're like an ant to CZ. He will come at them with 10 times what you saw Ripple nail them with. The best attorneys in the world, unlimited funding. It's not the SEC. Worry about the DOJ, because that is really where it gets nasty. And again, I think CZ at this point is going to find his exit, and he will be off to the races, and the whole Binance empire will be someone else's to manage. Now, Coinbase versus the SEC, very similar to Ripple. You see these third parties, unrelated parties, presenting their amicus briefs on the side of Coinbase, of course, not the SEC. And this time, it's legal scholars hailing from esteemed institutions such as Yale, University of Chicago, UCLA. Boston University, etc. And they have collaboratively submitted a potent brief. And this brief essentially dismantles the SEC's investment contract proposition. And, the things being traded on these exchanges generally are not going to be securities themselves. It's hard to say that, the secondary market provider is, offering securities because, again, the thing being sold is not a security. If you had a token that is, representing a Tesla share or representing some other underlying security, that would be. But, Coinbase, they're careful, and so are all these other major exchanges. They don't offer those types of securities. So the SEC is going to have a really hard time here. By the time they get done with a Ripple appeal, probably they lose that anyway. It's going to be too late for these cases. They're going after the heavy hitters, the ones that are well-funded, that are here to fight and protect their business, and that's the problem. Before, the people they attacked were either underfunded. You had your library coins. You had your block ones with EOS that just wanted to run away with their cash. They weren't looking for a fight. Here's your payoff. It's a different game now, and I just don't think they will have the same success that they did in the past. SEC likes to tout, look, we win most of our cases. Yeah, when you're going against nobodies, but so far you're 0 for 1, and those losses are going to keep compounding. They have to lean on Congress to get the proper authorities, to get actual regulations rolled out, because right now, you could argue that it's a free-for-all, that there are no regulators that overlook this space. I don't think that's a good thing either. We want to have regulatory oversight. We want to have clear laws. We want entrepreneurs to have to make some disclosures to the public so investors know what they're doing. But you can't just make it up as you go along, as the SEC has been doing. And I think, as Gary Gensler has said, they've hit the end of the road here. It's time to proceed in a strictly lawful manner. And, it's going to cause them to lean on lawmakers to get appropriate laws. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.